When it comes to building your own airplane, few decisions are as personal or as passionate as choosing which one to build. Two of the most talked about four-seat home-built aircraft on the market are the Sling TSi and the Vans RV-10. Both are modern, capable, and fast. Both promise cross-country performance that rivals certified airplanes at a fraction of the cost. But which one is right for you? Hi, I'm Robert Jensen. Welcome to Pilot Getaways. Today, we're diving deep into a side-by-side comparison of these two remarkable aircraft. We'll meet two experienced pilots and owners, Jason Broesder, who flies the Sling TSi, and Al Denardi, proud owner, beautifully finished Vans RV-10. Together, we'll explore what makes each airplane special, from cockpit ergonomics to handling, performance, build process, and real-world ownership. And just for full disclosure, I'm currently about 90% finished building my own RV-10. So I'm going to try and avoid any bias. So this isn't a competition, it's a journey to understand why builders fall in love with these machines and what might make one of them the perfect choice for you. All right. So why don't you tell me I'm really curious about the Sling.
All right.
So why don't you sell it to me?
Yeah, I'll sell it to you. So the nice thing, or what I love about the Sling, is a couple things. It is modern, as you can see by the all Garmin suite panel. Two G3Xs, a backup G5, GNX 375 GPS, and then the G500 or the 500 autopilot.
Yeah, beautiful.
So yeah, the panel's nice. Now, what mine does not have in it, though, Bob, it is an IFR plane, but it does not have any ground-based instrument. Like, it doesn't do ILS or anything like that, VORs. It's all GPS based, so you don't see the antenna up there that you would if you had.
But you can do an ILS, can't you?
You can fly an ILS, but it does not communicate directly with the localizer. If you're flying the ILS, you're flying on a GPS track.
Okay.
So it doesn't pick up the localizer
Gotcha.
at all.
Yeah.
So that, and then again, continuing with the modern, it's got a Rotax 915 engine, which puts out 141 horsepower, which doesn't seem like a lot in aircraft standards, but this is, when it's dry, this is a 1,200 pound plane. So it's a turbocharged motor, and so it climbs, up until about 15,000 feet. I'm climbing at about 1,000 feet a minute. And you can climb at 1,500 feet a minute on a nice cool day.
Yeah.
With full tanks and two people in the plane. If you've got three people in the plane, it's going to slow down the climb a little bit. But the Rotax with the Sling and the MT prop, it's FADEC. So full authority digital engine control. Meaning there is no mixture control and there is no prop control. So it's a constant speed propeller, but it's all controlled through the FADEC system. So it's all digital engine controlled. So once I get up to altitude, and I frequently fly at 17,000, 18,000 feet, once I'm at that altitude, the engine just leans and the prop gets set for best cruise.
Wow, all by itself?
All by itself. It's single lever. All I've got is the throttle lever, that's it.
And what's your fuel burn at that?
So I burn when it's flying in what's called eco mode, I burn 8 gallons an hour.
So what
at
8?
8 gallons an hour at 150 knots true.
Wow.
Yeah. So and then, again, depending on kind of the conditions, I mean, it'll go 150, 155. Now, if I crank it up to 10 or 11 gallons an hour, then it'll true out at 160 to 165 at higher altitudes. Yeah. It's not bad at all, considering, that's And the Bonanza, I'm guessing your most economical is probably around 11 or 12.
Yeah, but I usually don't fly above 12.5.
Okay.
So at
okay,
12,
yeah.
at
so
12.5, you know, I'm probably looking at 14 even.
14 gallons
13
an hour.
and a half, 14. And that's full out.
Yep. And you've got retractable gear, so you're flying probably your true airspeed's probably closer to 175, 180?
170.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm 10 to 20 knots slower at roughly a little less, well, a little more than half the burn.
Yeah.
Yep. So with my extended range tanks, so my main tanks right there hold 52 gallons. And then another 7 on each side in my extended range. So if I fill up all my tanks, I can put 66 gallons in here, which gives me 1,200 nautical miles, no wind. No wind and no reserve.
Wow.
But I flew to northern Montana last month to Glasgow, Montana, which was 800 nautical miles. And I landed with 2 hours of fuel on board. And at one point was cruising at 230 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Because I had a
tailwind.
really nice tailwind flying out there. Now, flying back, I was flying at the speed of smell. But you know how that goes, flying east and west.
Yeah.
So it's got long legs, and it's the other thing I really like, it's a very agile plane too. It's a pilot's airplane. No knock on any of the bigger, heavier planes, but it's fun to fly. Like when you're cruising around, when you're doing maneuvers and stuff like that, it's extremely sensitive. So even with all of that though, it's also very stable. Something that I a lot of times will practice, like when I'm climbing out, I'll get it trimmed out and stuff without the autopilot on. I'll take my hands off the controls and just practice with the yaw, just controlling the airplane that way. So it's stable, it's fun.
Sorry.
Nice. It's the beauty of being in Medford. So it's a stable plane, it's a fun plane. It is very new with its automation, the FADEC, and
what do you use for oxygen at that?
Oh yeah. Actually, if you want to come over this side, I'll go over to the other side and show you.
Okay. And what's the TBO on these engines?
So
Another
that's
question.
the downside to the one I have in this airplane.
Now, how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
6'3".
I've had a 6'6" friend ride with me over to Boise and back, and no sweat, no problem at all for him.
You don't feel cramped at all?
No, in fact, it's super comfortable.
Gotcha.
I'll have you crawl in at when the camera's down, but
Okay.
yeah, not a problem at all. Obviously, my seat's all the way back. This seat's a little bit forward. When my buddy was with me, his was all the way back, and it was a comfortable ride the whole way. TBO on the 915 is still 1,200 miles, or 1,200 hours, sorry, which is not great, obviously. The new Slings are all putting the 916 Rotax in it, which gets 161 horsepower. And now that's max horsepower, 161. This is 141 max, 135 continuous. So I think that the 916s are 161 max and 155 continuous. So you bring the throttle all the way in on takeoff, and then you back the throttle off within 5 minutes after takeoff. That's got a 2,000 hour TBO.
Okay.
So assuming I hold onto this long enough, which I've got no reason to believe I won't, to need this engine TBO'd, I'm gonna probably just replace it with the 916, get a little extra horsepower. It's a little bit faster, and it's a little more efficient, basically.
More efficient.
Yes, that's from what I'm hearing. The people with the 916s in them are able to cruise a little faster at that same 8 gallon an hour burn.
Okay. Wow.
So my oxygen
That's impressive.
is this. I think this is a 2.5 pound oxygen concentrator. I've actually got 2 of these, and it is continuous oxygen, and it just makes pure oxygen out of the air.
It's legal.
And it's legal.
Okay.
And now it's legal for experimental. I do not believe or know for certain whether or not it's legal in a certified aircraft like the Bonanza. You may still have to use the canisters in the Bonanza.
Okay.
But for experimentals, this is legal. And you don't have to have a doctor's prescription. A pilot's license is sufficient to be able to order these.
And what's the name of it?
This one is called the Oxygo.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I just have it powered to the ship with the cigarette lighter
USB
underneath.
or?
It's just a cigarette lighter
Okay.
that I've got right here, and then same thing in the back. So it's got continuous power and provides continuous oxygen. So again, when I flew back from Montana last month, I flew at flight level 180, and it was 5 hours and 45 minutes, the flight back from Glasgow.
Yeah.
And oxygen the whole time. And again, I landed with an hour and a half of fuel on board.
Gotcha.
This is a 4-place or 4-seater.
Gotcha.
But you cannot carry 4 adults in here because I've got a ballistic parachute in back.
Oh, okay.
So my ballistic parachute is right behind this seat. You can kind of see the box right through there. The ballistic, obviously it's got a rocket, propels through. You can see the blast panel up top.
On top, okay.
Yep. And that, it takes just enough. It's not a matter of weight so much because I've got a useful load of about, or payload of 900 pounds. So I could, in theory, still get 4, but that gets me my weight aft. So it's my CG that really gets thrown off because there's enough weight back there. If I've got 2 adults back here, I'm very much aft CG. Now, I know there are people that have flown with that. It's just outside of my comfort zone to have the parachute and 2 adults. I have had 2 younger kids in back without any problem at all. So.
And how many times have you used the parachute?
So far, only once. That is actually part of my pre-flight. So the parachute's right here. And so when I show my passengers the parachute, I say, no, I'm the only one who gets to use it because it's single use. It is one-use parachute. While you're up here, I guess I should show you. So talking about the single levers, there are no toe brakes. What we've got is just the handbrake right here. And I thought that would be difficult to get used to. Now, it's not a castering front wheel. It's a steering front wheel. So you can really do a 180 in here, like in our area between our hangars here. I can do a 180 no problem. With this, just by steering the front wheel and controlling. So it's not differential steering with the brakes. It's just this one toe brake or this one
steering
handbrake.
on the front wheel, but a handbrake basically.
Steering the front wheel and the handbrake.
So how long did it take you to build this?
It took just a little bit over 9 months. I think that we could have probably done it a little bit quicker, but for the fact that I was building it actually right during COVID when we were having all sorts of shipping delays and stuff like that. So some of the parts were taking a little bit extra long coming from South Africa, which is where Sling is built. And then they ship everything through Torrance, which is where the Sling USA is, and then Torrance ships them out from there. But my build assist was in Boise, and a guy by the name of Evan Brunier, who is just incredible, and he just makes fantastic slings. And the process itself was very enjoyable for me. Really liked just being involved in it.
Cool. All right. Well, any regrets or anything you do different?
I mean,
would you do it all
one
over
thing
again, the same?
I would do everything the same. The one thing I wish I was just a little bit slower and would have gotten the 916 in it instead of the 915. That's but that's just kind of part of the experimental world. I mean, the beauty of the experimental world is that you get all the latest and greatest, but the downside is as soon as your plane's finished, there's later and greater that's coming out right now. Right.
And you looked at the RV-10, you said?
I did. In fact, it was a very close comparison for me between this and the RV-10. The Sling, for me, it was a little bit more available because Evan actually had a Sling ready to build when I was looking. And I ended up going with the Sling because I liked the FADEC, and I liked that it was a little more economical.
Gotcha. So, do you mind my asking?
No.
How much final cost with the ballistic?
Total cost with the chute, with the really the best panel that I could get was $310.
310. Wow.
Yep, including the build assist.
Wow.
So
everything.
For everything out the door. And now, I will say now what I'm seeing online is for this exact plane out of Torrance, where the major build assist is creeping up closer to 500,000.
Yeah.
So that's just where they're at.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about bikes.
Let's talk about bikes. Yes.
Let's go.
Getting back to the aviation, what got you into flying? Was it
My father,
business or just for fun?
For fun. My father-in-law was a pilot, avid pilot, owned a Beechcraft, beautiful Beechcraft Bonanza. His Bonanza was owned by Lauren Green of the TV series Bonanza. So he bought it from Lauren Green, which I always thought was pretty cool.
Bonanza?
A Bonanza from the guy that was,
That's hilarious.
the Bonanza Ranch guy. And so he had a Bonanza. He also flew a Cessna 185.
You had a Cessna, right?
I did for a while.
182?
My first plane that I bought was a 182 RG.
And then why did you switch to the RV then?
Well, I have to tell you, the 182 RG is a great plane. There's no problem with that. Mine had a couple of little mods, so I would typically flight plan for 160 knots. And, you know, the 182 RG is just a really great plane. Family plane, which I needed. I've got a couple of kids. And, but, you know, I also built an RV-8 with Brian Malani's father, Butch Malani.
Okay, yeah.
And I became friends with Butch. His hangar was almost next door to mine. So I'm looking in at his projects and I'm going, what is this? And they had an RV-4. He built some other planes, and it was Butch Malani that introduced me to the world of RV.
Okay.
And he says, and he jokingly winked and said, don't ever take a flight on one of these because you're going to want one. Yeah. And so one day I made the mistake. I went up to Vans. I had a demo flight in an RV-6, I believe it was. And that was it for me. I just absolutely loved the feel of an RV, everything about it, the performance being on a fast cruise, incredible slow flight capabilities. The 6 that he flew me in had some aerobatic capabilities, so we did a little bit of that. And after that flight, I was like, okay, I have got to get one of these planes. And so when I got back, I told Butch, so can I talk to you about building an RV-8? And he goes, don't tell me you went to Vans, did you? And I said, yes, I did. He goes, I told you not to do that. So we embarked on an RV-8 project, and I absolutely loved my RV-8, similar to the one that's over here. That one is waiting for an engine. Brian Malani is...
So that's the RV-8 you built?
That's not the one I built.
Oh.
That's one that Brian was doing maintenance on for a gentleman.
Okay.
And turned out it needed a new engine, so it's kind of taking that space until the engine comes.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I love my 8. I just absolutely loved it. I took some aerobatic classes and learned to do, light aerobatics, nothing crazy. And I did a bunch of spin training in it, and it's just, the RV-8 is one of the best planes, in my opinion, ever built.
Okay.
And Butch did a fabulous job, as the Malanis do. They do incredible work. That plane won Reserve Lindy at Oshkosh. In fact, I have the trophy back here. So it won, and that show, and it won a couple of other shows, and it was just a great plane. Well, what happened is, when the RV-10 came out, I thought, this is a 4-place RV. If this thing feels like my 8 does, or even close to how my 8 feels, this is a no-brainer. I mean, this would be like all the best of a Cessna 182 RG speed-wise, and then some, and then also the feel of an RV. How can you go wrong with that? I didn't like the looks of it at first, and Brian and I looked at it, and Brian said, I've got some ideas for it. So by the time Brian got around to it, as you can see, this is not an RV engine cowl. Brian had the idea that we were going to get our engine from Barrett High Performance Engines, and Barrett built a cold air induction system onto their engine which required that we had to do something with the cowl. And then also Brian had the idea, this is a split here, where the air goes directly down into a plenum that Brian designed that goes right into the cold air. So there's no air going past any hot engine parts before it enters the intake. It's all cool air coming down separate from that. And then on top, the air goes across the top of the engine and goes out. So it works beautifully. This plane runs cool. Even in the summertime, I got nice cool temps. Anyway, so this is a mod. This is not an original RV. They originally had these sort of like eyebrow-looking things, and this is round, kind of like a Lancer or something. And then we put a bigger spinner. They come with a 13-inch. We went up to a 15-inch spinner. And of course, this is an MT prop. It just made it look beautiful in the front, no question about it. And then over here, Brian gets the idea that, because I didn't like, and neither did Brian, this wasn't just me. Brian and I were looking at an RV one day, and I did not like the fact that it takes a great big dip right here and then goes back up again. It just looked kind of, I mean, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but we just thought, maybe we can improve that. So Brian had the thought of replacing that entire section. So starting from about here, all the way back through here, right there like that, and all of that is a mod. So the air, and because this part is actually composite, it leaves a gap there where that dip used to be, and all of the antennas and all that, GPS and all that, are inside that gap. So you notice there's no antenna farm on top of this plane. There's nothing on the top of this plane. The air comes up over it and it shoots all the way back with no disturbance. So, we don't know. Little things like that are probably adding to the fact that this plane, actually I always flight plan for 180 knots. That's just what it is, 180. I usually get about 182, but I flight plan for 180. And it achieves that every time. And I don't think it's just the engine. Now the engine is a Barrett built, a brand new Lycoming, purchased from Lycoming and in parts. They don't do this anymore, Brian tells me. And we sent that engine to Barrett, and they actually built the engine from the ground up,
Gotcha.
like a blueprinted engine. And just because of their incredible precise work, and also due to the cold air induction and other things they did, I think the compression went up slightly, but nothing dramatic. It's almost 300 horsepower. It's like 296 horsepower. Some number, they put it on a bench. So instead of 260, we're running almost 300. So that has something to do with the extra speed. That combined with the aerodynamic improvements. So that's it. But little things like a stock RV comes straight here and there. So there's just this straight. So Brian put the little angle there. Even on top, it goes straight on a normal RV-10, but there's a little curve there, just to kind of, do that. And then here, even on the door, these are curved. They're normally straight. Just
on the passenger
and on
pilot door too.
And on these doors, we almost obsessed on this idea of getting away from square angles, 90-degree angles, and just made everything a little bit more, a little more refined. Doesn't add anything to the performance of the plane, especially things like this, but it just makes it look nice.
Aesthetics.
So
what flight level do you usually fly at with this?
this plane goes to Sandpoint, Idaho on a regular basis because we have a second home there. And it's about 450 miles. And we have the Cascades to get over the top of between Medford. And my course takes me almost to Sandpoint, exactly, Bend, Oregon, and on up. So I've got to get over the Cascades, and I feel comfortable at 11,500. If I'm VFR, I can do it at, if I'm IFR, I can do it at 11,000, but I usually go to 11,500 VFR. And I stay there all the way over the Cascades, and if the winds are favorable up high, I'll just stay there for almost the whole flight. if the winds are favorable down low, once I pass the Cascades, I'll drop down to get some better winds.
What's your fuel burn? Well, you kind of push it, right? You full throttle?
I push it because it was Butch Milani told me a long time ago, and Butch was an engine guy. He built engines for some of the aerobatic guys that used to do aerobatics at the places like the Reno Air Races, and he actually built an engine or two.
Oh, really?
For some of the Reno racers. So Butch knew engines, as does Ryan does. And he'd say, Al, when you break this thing in, just push it, because you're going to get a tighter plane. If you baby it, things are going to get, you're not going to get as good of a seal. So I pushed it, and I said, should I back off now that we've got 20 or 30 hours? He goes, no, I would just keep pushing it. So I don't, when I'm taking off, and then another instructor told me one day, whatever you do, don't touch anything in your climb, because the minute you move a lever, there's a chance if something's going to go wrong, it's going to be because you're moving a lever, whether it's your prop or your power or whatever. Just leave everything where it is for a while until you get a nice, safe altitude. So I tend to, everything is firewall forward, and it stays there until I'm in a safe altitude, and then I'll start leaning the engine, and I'll start leaning back to prop. And but for the power, if I'm going to go up to 11,500, I'll keep that power lever all the way there, because as I'm going up, I'm losing power.
Right.
So by the time I get to 11,500, I'm already down.
Prop down, or do you keep it at
I keep
2,500 RPM?
2450 for some reason. I don't know why I chose that number.
Okay.
I think I used to run that on the, and the Lycomings, I like Lycomings on the ground. You lean them, after you start them up, the first thing you do is you lean it out, and then you keep it lean, and then push it in just before takeoff.
Right.
But, so that's what I do. I lean it out at altitude. And, this has a G900X, which I love. It's like a G1000, experimental version of a G1000. So it has this leaning assist.
Right.
So you hit the button,
Right.
and the whole thing explodes big, and then you do your leaning. So it's pretty easy to operate. That I get pretty accurate on my leaning, and I usually burn about 15 and a half. At 11,500, I'm burning about 15 and a half, and I'm going about 180, 181, 182 knots, somewhere in there.
Burn it.
So that's how I do it. If it's a low flight, I'll pull the power back. I mean, if I'm going to go to the coast and I want to stay at 6,000 feet, I'll go ahead and pull the power back. I don't want to be up in 2,500 or 24 manifold pressure or 2,500. I'll just pull. I keep the manifold pressures around 20-ish, if I'm going to fly low.
Yeah.
There's no point in pushing the engine when you're down low.
Okay.
And when you're high, I don't feel like I'm pushing it, because, as I said, I've already lost a lot of power just because of going high.
Now, did you take this plane to any shows?
All the shows.
Okay.
This plane's been almost to every show there is. Only thing I haven't gone to with this plane is Sun and Fun, because usually from here the weather just doesn't allow me to get through.
And did you enter it in any competitions, or?
Oshkosh.
Okay.
It won a reserve grand champion.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've got 2 trophies in there, one for the RV-8 and one for this
Nice.
plane.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. And how old is it now?
It was done in 2011, officially flying in 2000. Actually, we got it done in 2010, but I always call it 2011 because that's when the paint and everything was done.
14 years.
I flew it for about a half a year unpainted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, our reasoning was, Brian and I reasoned out that it's all going to move around. Everything's just going to move. So if you put paint on it and then fly it, you're going to have all kinds of places you're going to have to make some corrections on. So I flew for about 6 months with no paint. Then we finally got it painted by Steve Green.
Okay.
And all this, the colors were all picked out by my wife. She's an artist. So this is not a typical white. She picked a white that would blend in with these. And so the white is more important than you think. It really makes it, because it makes these all analogous to the other colors. This is all clear coated. So as I'm running my hand here, you'll see there's no bump. It's just painted with a clear coat, slick. When I wax it up, I actually gained about a knot whenever I
Really?
clean it. Yeah, I do. I actually get a whole knot when I clean my plane. I think it's the clear coating. But All that design was done by scheme designers,
Yep.
and they were great to work with. This was back in 2011 or so, and they gave us several choices, and this is the one that we came up with.
Very nice. Very classic.
Yeah, we liked it. We like it. Butch said I was going to go blue, and Butch Maloney said, you got to go like a dark red or something. So I think he was onto something. Sherry came up with the idea of the gold color.
Wanted to talk about the mods first of all, Brian.
Sure.
You own Showplanes. You own Showplanes.com. I mean, what is Showplanes.com? What do you guys do?
Showplanes sells aftermarket parts for mostly vans, aircrafts, but we sell parts to any experimental out there. Got quite a few different mods for the RV-10. Some of the mods you're going to see on this airplane are going to be our cowling, number one. So this cowling is designed for if you're using cold air induction on your 540, or it works just fine if you're using a standard induction as well. But we see most of our clients using the cold air induction 540. We can show you what that looks like a little bit. Yeah, so the difference on our cowling over stock is going to be, well, the biggest right up front is going to be we run a 15-inch spinner. So that's 2 inches bigger in diameter than the stock RV spinner, or the RV-10 spinner. We've got, of course, circular air inlets, which is going to be a little different than what the stock Vans cowls got. As well, probably the biggest thing of difference is there's no external air scoop for intake. This aircraft, utilizing this cowling, will pull air through the air inlets down into the engine air intake system. So a lot different there, a lot more streamlined. Obviously looks completely different with the bigger spinner on it.
It looks almost like a Cirrus. I mean,
Similar, yeah. Cirrus have a little different configuration on their inlets. They're more oval, but yeah, it's similar to that. Otherwise, it's the material is the same as what you're going to get in a stock Vans cowling. It's all a pre-preg. That it's done in an oven, so it's all heat cured. Very resilient to heat, very light, very stout. It's pretty much industry standard, what you would find on a Cirrus. Well, the next biggest mod that you're going to find on these 10s are going to be the aft turtle deck skin. Instead of running aluminum from this point aft to the vertical stabilizer, we replace that with a large piece of composite material that actually replaces the aluminum skin, and then that composite skin goes all the way up to the back of the doors. So in this location where Vans has got a slight deformation in cabin top meeting the aluminum tail cone skin, we've gotten rid of that. We're approximately 3 inches higher than the stock Vans profile at this station. And we're actually almost a 3/4 of an inch lower in this station than stock Vans, back to normal at the very tail end of the aircraft. So it's a very large convex shape that has a nice swoop to it. It's not straight by any means. With this composite material, now any of our sky looking antennas, any of our GPS or XM for weather or for entertainment purposes, or even our ELTs, we can now put inside the fuselage up above the aluminum, so up in this area here, with visibility of all the satellites and everything necessary. So no longer do we have to mount those on the top of the fuselage. We can have them hidden within the fuselage. It's nice more for aesthetics than anything, but I guess there's a little bit of drag, obviously, that could come from antennas sitting out there. Of course, any comm antennas or anything of that nature, you're still going to want to put them on the belly, which is normal, and down there where they're supposed to be designed for. The empennage remains completely unchanged. There's no modifications to the vertical or the horizontal stabilizer. We do have a nicer transition up into the vertical stabilizer, as well as a new stabilizer tip fairing that has a more gentle transition to it. So it does change the look of your empennage, but physically it's not changed in size. You still have all the access necessary to get in it. for inspection purposes and things of that nature. Yeah, so the doors are pretty much stock. We have our own handle assembly, which is very nice flush handle assembly. Also has a lock in it, which isn't shown right now in this position. But so when you want to open the doors, it's just your standard rotate and lift open. So interior-wise on this aircraft, it's got this particular aircraft's got a whole new center console and instrument panel that we're developing. This is opted for the 3 G3X screens, also with the 750. And then one of the nice things about this particular aircraft is we incorporated the autopilot controls into the glare shield. And
I've never seen that before.
yeah, it's something new we've just done, and I think it's going to work out really good. It doesn't obstruct any forward visibility whatsoever, and it's at the same relative location as the glare shield, so it doesn't stick back towards you any further than the glare shield originally did. We also have the overhead console that we've developed to deliver air. This aircraft won't have air conditioning, but this is designed for individuals that are using air conditioning. You've got 4 outlets on it, 2 for the back, 2 for the front. Of course, going to run lighting in it. And then in this particular installation, we are doing the Mountain High EDS system, where we've got the pilot, co-pilot control units right there.
Oxygen?
Yes, for oxygen. And as well, then we have the passenger control units in the back of the center console.
Okay.
Yeah, so standard RV-10 engine, IO 540, depending on the particular make model, is going to have an updraft sump. Although it's going to utilize fuel injection, it'll have an updraft sump, and then it'll have an air filter, which then is incorporated into the front air scoop. That's how air would enter into the fuel servo and then be distributed up through the intake pipes into the engine. Okay. That's on a stock 260 horse Lycoming engine. What we're looking at here, though, is cold air induction, which the difference of it really is the fact that the air intake no longer runs through the oil sump itself, and so no longer are these intake tubes being surrounded by hot 180-degree oil temperature, preheating all that intake air before it goes into the cylinder. The entire cold air sump itself sits below the oil sump, so it's all external. That allows the air to really remain cool as it enters in through the intake system and up into the engine. That usually is an increase in horsepower around 15 to 18 horsepower. On our cowling, how we get air into that intake system is through our 2 circular air inlets. We use the bottom 25% of each air inlet that's dedicated directly for the engine intake. Air enters in through the intake, both left and right side, runs through our K&N conical air filter that sits down inside of here, merges together, then goes through the fuel servo and into the engine. An engine with cold air induction, which is not uncommon to have a little extra compression in it. Usually people bump up to 9-to-1 compression. That's just 0.3 of a point over stock. Those engines are running about 295 horsepower over the stock 260. So a combination of cold air, a little extra cylinder compression, and you've just made 35 more horsepower.
And the fuel burn is about the same?
Well, fuel, you're always going to burn more fuel if you're making more horsepower. Okay. But this will burn the same amount of fuel as a 260 horse engine if you're only utilizing 260 horse. If you're utilizing 295 horse at sea level and in a climb or something, it's definitely going to burn more fuel. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't fly at Lena Peak or fly in any configuration and burn stock 540 fuel flow levels.
Okay. Now, are there any certified aircraft that uses cold induction engines in them? Or is that just an experimental thing?
No, actually, a few airframes out there that are running the Lycoming IO 580, which is a whole different variant than this, got whole different cylinder heads and everything. That is the stock induction for the 580. Those engines are at a minimum of 300, and a lot of times they'll go up to 350 horsepower, depending on if they're turboed and things of that nature. Oil cooling is stock as far as our cowling goes. We require nothing in addition. We're just utilizing the 13-row oil cooler, firewall mounted, fed through the SCAT. works just fine with our cowling. Everything else, otherwise, the baffling is basically stock. There's a few modifications up front. Like I said, we do run that bigger spinner, so that does require some modifications to the cowling. I'm sorry, to the baffling to fit in our cowling. We do run a over-the-top governor bracket. So now our control cables runs over top of the engine to control the prop governor versus below, which would have been standard. This aircraft's utilizing the PMAG 200 series ignition system. So it's fully electronic.
Okay.
No magnetos. ER tanks from Sky Designs are getting you about 82 gallons. So lots of range. And then that's in one fuel tank.
One thing I noticed that the Sling has been built with the option already kind of built into the kit design for a parachute. RVs, you can add a parachute, but...
Well, honestly, I don't know. I think there's a few out there that are flying with a BRS parachute. I've not looked into it. I haven't had any clients that necessarily wanted it, but there was that option. It does take, from what I understand, it does take it takes quite a bit of the baggage compartment out of it. That's where the system sits. And then, of course, the aircraft not being designed for it, trying to get the harness system to blend with the aircraft structure. It's all on the outside. Cirrus, being composite, they actually have built-in channels that's built into the structure that are covered with a thin layer of fiberglass that would run all the way around the structure for your 4 attach points. And so once the rocket leaves, it rips the harness, the cables, out of the fuselage. Yes. That thin layer that's covering the cable system harness is non-structural. The structure's back behind it. So it's merely just being covered, a facade, so the aircraft looks good and you don't see it. But that pulls right out, and then you've got that 4-point attach system for hanging from the parachute.
A little bit later. I think this is pretty much going to be the setup, or real similar to the setup that you're going to have in your RV. So we've got the G3X, which is my primary flight display here, and then my multifunction display G3X over there, which since you're a pilot also, I'll set that so that you can also see your gauges. The only thing you won't have is the engine monitoring gauges. My G5 backup, that's a 4-hour backup, completely independent of everything else. It can run the autopilot and all of that. And then my Garmin Navigator, the GNX 375. And of course, my GMC 500 autopilot.
Perfect.
So we've got lanes on. It's push button. When I push this button,
just like a car.
Engine start, it goes green around here. It was red when it first went on, so I push this button. The engine starts now green, so it's ready to go.
Oh, wow.
So we'll go ahead and close the doors and get it fired up. Actually, since it's kind of warm out, and that's kind of the nice thing, well, I mean, I guess you can do that in your Bonanza too, but we can go ahead and start it up. It's just going to be a little bit noisy in the cockpit once we do.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and start it up. Brakes on. Actually, I'm going to close your door because it's a little bit of a stretch for me. So your door is closed, latched, and then if you'll lean forward for me a little bit, yep, there's 2 latches, so I just checked the latch behind to make sure that both grab.
36 Delta
Yep,
Lima,
can see that?
Oh, yeah, there, you can see the latches.
Yep.
Oh, wow, nice.
And then your seatbelt is right behind you and buckles just like a car. So this is my parachute. So I pulled the parachute pin actually on the flight over here. So the parachute pin comes out. I always just keep it right here. It's a BRS parachute, same kind that they use in Cirrus. And then one-time use, so I always tell my passengers, let me be the one to pull that unless I'm incapacitated. So, all right. Parking brake is set. We've got the throttle up. Clear prop. And since I just flew over from Sun River, the engine's already pretty well warmed up. I usually keep a close eye on my oil temps and I try and keep my RPMs between 2,200 and 2,500. Now I know that sounds weird. What do you have a Lycoming or a Continental in your?
Continental.
Okay, so you probably cruise at about 2,400 RPM. 2,300 RPM.
And climb at 25.
Yeah, so we'll take off at 5,800 RPM, and we cruise at 5,400 RPM.
Gotcha.
So, but it's
so you don't have any problem with hot starts at all, then?
Don't have any problem. Never have had a problem with hot starts at all.
That's nice.
It is completely not an issue in this.
Cool.
All right, I'm going to pull this down. We do not have air conditioning, but we've got a couple of NACA vents that get
right there,
some air flowing
2259
through
ground
here.
advisor ready to taxi. Verify you have information Delta on board, man. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so that's all latched up, and I think what we can do is we'll go ahead and taxi over and then do you have any place in particular you want to go?
No, just short ride is fine.
Okay, I flew in and everything's cloudy all the way around us. To the south of us actually looks best. So if it works for you, we can do kind of we'll do a performance climb and go fly around by Shasta and head back.
Perfect.
That work? Okay.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Cool. We'll do it. That's what we'll do. Do you have the A30s? You do, don't you? Yeah. So you know about the double tapping.
No.
I hate that. Every once in a while, the headphone will lose its noise canceling.
Oh, okay.
And you have to double tap on the ear. Here, I'll show you.
I probably have an older version. No, I have A20s.
Okay, those are A20s in the back. The A30s.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So they have it for like commercial pilots so that they can talk to the flight attendants and stuff.
Gotcha.
But it's a feature I'm sure I could turn it off, but I just like to gripe about it instead. Okay, so pulled the parachute pin, did all my pre-flight stuff. I took care of all that while I was in Sun River this morning. So we're going to go ahead and taxi. We'll pick up the weather, and then we'll do the run-up. I'll show you the run-up in here is surprisingly minimal. And again, I told you a little bit about this. This is all single lever, so my brake is up here. It does not have differential brake steering. The nose wheel actually steers the plane, and then my brake's right here. But I'll show you. It took me all of about 2 minutes to get used to that.
Visual approaching, use landing and departing runway 32.
So you can see how tight it can turn.
Seattle and San Francisco airports. Advise on initial contact. You have information Delta.
So when we went to Sun River, Denardi was behind us in his RV-10.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he blew past us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Visibility 10.
Yeah, yours is going to be even faster with that.
Visual approaching, use landing and departing runway 32. Flow control in effect for Seattle and San Francisco airports. Advise on initial contact. You have information Delta.
So with my comms, I've got my COM 1 over here, COM 2 over here. Pretty much all of my controls are on my flight control here.
Okay.
So I just do a COM swap, hit the button here. So here I'm on ATIS. Now I'm on ground.
Okay.
And then my autopilot disconnect, flaps, trim, push to talk, all the stuff that you would expect up in there. Medford ground, experimental Sling 3755 Golf at the north hangars with Delta, looking for a departure to the south.
Experimental Sling 3755 Golf, Medford ground, runway 32, taxi V Alpha, copy southbound departure.
32 V Alpha, 55 Golf. Usually while I'm taxiing, I'll do kind of my fuel systems check. So this, the Rotax does not have any engine-driven fuel pumps.
Okay.
I always fly with both my fuel pumps on. Some people, I think, fly with just one. What I've found is with just one on, especially when I get up.
Medford Tower, Cherokee departed ahead of you is a right turn in the pattern. Left turn out westbound approved. Runway 32, wind calm, cleared for takeoff.
When I get up into my higher altitudes, just the one fuel pump can be a little bit minimal for what it needs. So what I check is right here, my fuel pressure. I got my main fuel pump on. I'll turn my boost pump on and watch my fuel pressure should go up to 33, 34. That's not an accurate pressure reading. It's actually about 45. We couldn't get that calibrated to show the exact amount. But this shows the pressure changes, so we're comfortable with it. So now we're showing 33, 34, so I'll take my primary fuel pump off. That'll drop back down likely to 32 here. There, drop down to 32.
55 Golf, give way to Alaska Airlines and Bear 175, taking runway 3, or taking Alpha for departure in front of the terminal ramp.
We'll hold short and give way to Alaska Airlines 55 Golf.
Thank you, sir.
So I verified both fuel pumps work.
Okay.
I flew all the way in on my left tank, so I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to my right tank. So I know my left tank's good, and I'll finish my taxiing, my run-up on my right tank, so I've checked my fuel systems on the way.
And how much does each tank hold?
I've flown back and forth to Sun River 3 times this week, and I still have half my tanks.
Oh, wow.
My main fuel tanks each hold 26 gallons, and my auxiliary tanks hold 7 each, so 66 gallons total.
You got 33 left.
Yep. Let's see. I've got 29.2 left.
Okay.
Right now. So I kind of adjust this on here, even though I've filled up all 66.
Contact tower, you be ready.
You got to fill it really right to the very top. So I only put that I've had 62 gallons in there.
Roger that, ma'am. Change to my frequency 119.4. Try to be ready. I've got 2 box haulers inbound IFR. I don't want them to get in your way.
I'll try
Roger that. We'll try to be ready here and over the tower now.
Thank you, ma'am.
So the fuel on this is just the Garmin calculating the fuel based on your fuel burn.
Cherokee 5530 Whiskey, caution wake turbulence, Alaska Airlines Bear 175 departing priority arrival. Runway 32, wind calm, clear, touch and go, then make right close traffic.
It shows the last 10 gallons in the tank. So once you get down to 10 gallons in each wing, these will actually start to go. So right now they're just showing completely full because there's more than 10 in each tank. So I've got a really good sense of how much I've got on board, but then when it gets down to the last 20 gallons, I know for sure.
Following Cascade approach 124.3.
I don't know if the RV is going to be like that or how that's going to work.
There's actually going to be tank 2 or 3
monitors.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it'll see it. Yeah. I think mine, because of the dehydral of the wings, I think that that's just what it does. It catches that last 10 gallons. I suspect that there's probably a pretty good way to
add
those to. Yep. The Garmin system actually does a really good job of tracking it. If I don't have my extended range tanks on, I'll go with that straight 52, and it's always within a gallon of it. Okay, so here's our run up. Parking brake set. Controls, I'm going to do a quick box check here. Do my box check while I'm looking out, checking the ailerons.
Right there, 2259 tower. Before you go, traffic 1 o'clock, 12 miles southbound is a Brasilia descending out of 7,000, talking to Cascade. Additional traffic 11 o'clock and 8 miles westbound is a FedEx Caravan at 7,000. Contact Cascade departure. Have a good, safe flight up to Portland.
Okay, so for what you would ordinarily do a magneto check, since this does not have magnetos, we do what we call a lane check. It's basically checking each of the ECUs to make sure that they're working independently. Like I said, each of them can control the ship and fly the plane if one of them goes out. So it's a redundancy. So I get my RPMs to 2,500, so I don't do the high, because I'm not checking magnetos necessarily. I'm just checking these engine control units. So there's about 2,500. I was close for one. There we go. There's 2,540. So I'm going to check lane A. I'm going to push this down, and you'll see a slight drop in the RPM, and you'll see some of my engine or some of the instruments will fail. So light comes on, slight drop in the RPM, and some instrument failures. Okay, so that's how we know that this ECU is and was working. Turn this back on, this light should go off within 5 seconds, and all my instruments should come back. Okay, that's a good check, and my RPM came back to where it was supposed to. Same thing with lane B, there should be a slight drop, some instrument failure, so we know that lane B works. There are different instruments that are failing generally with that.
Medford Tower information echo now
back
current
on.
altimeter 3009er. Cherokee 5530 Whiskey, make left close traffic. That's
so
for traffic inbound from the north.
ECU check.
Okay, cool.
So I've done my box check, done my ECU check. My engine gauges are all green. Oil temp's good, oil pressure's good. Let's go, let's see.
And flight 1994, Medford Tower, good morning,
let's
sir.
fly up to 12,500.
Runway 32, wind calm, clear to land.
So we'll go ahead and set the altimeter for 12,500, and we're on VFR on our transponder. Both fuel pumps are on, we're on our fullest tank. Got our wig-wag lights on. So all my lights are up here.
Good morning, sir.
Got my beacon, my nav, and my wig-wags. During the day, I tend to use my wig-wags rather than my landing lights, just because I think that makes the plane more visible, because it's that motion rather than the constant light being on. Trim down a little bit here. Check my doors are closed and latched. Lights are verified. Flap set, trim set. I generally, unless I've got passenger in the back, I take off without any flaps. It takes off in about the same amount of distance with or without flaps when there's just two of us in it.
Correct.
All right, so we're just going to do a normal takeoff briefing, Bob. Once I get out onto the runway, I'll bring in full power. We're generally going to be off the ground within, well before the 1,000-foot markers. Our rotation speed is 55. If we have any engine problems before we get to 55, I'm just going to chop the throttle, maintain directional control, apply the brakes, and exit the runway once everything's under control. If we rotate and have any engine problems after rotation and there's enough runway in front of us, we're going to go ahead and land, again, maintain directional control, and then exit the runway. If we don't have any runway beneath us and we're below 500 feet, I'm still going to pull the parachute unless there's a really good place to land pretty well right out in front of us. BRS recommends, even if you're at 300 or 400 feet, pulling that parachute's going to give you a softer landing than you would otherwise.
Traffic number 2.
If we get above 500 feet, I'm pulling the parachute right away. If we get above 1,000 feet, we'll evaluate and see about turning back to the runway if we need to. Okay?
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
All right, here we go. Fantastic. So if I'm doing just my last second check right before takeoff or right before landing, Bob, all I'm doing is checking my fuel pumps, my fullest tank, and my lights. That's it. Seat belts, that kind of thing, but there's just nothing else to check. Medford Tower, Sling 55 Golf, holding short at Alpha 1.
Sling 3755 Golf, Medford Tower, hold short of runway 32 for arriving traffic.
Holding short of 32 for arriving traffic, 55 Golf.
All right, I've got the traffic holding short, cleared to land, 36 Delta.
I hold short for the
Sling 3755 Golf Tower, make a right downwind departure, runway 32 wind calm, cleared for takeoff. Traffic is a twin Cessna on a 2-mile left base.
32 clear for takeoff and right downwind departure, 55 Golf. All right, so we've been cleared for the runway. Hopefully you still remember our takeoff briefing. Been a while. All right, we're clear on final. We are clear down the runway. 32 is painted on the runway.
Are you sure that's paint?
Hope it
could be
is.
plastic.
All right, so we'll get lined up, and here we go. Airspeed's alive. Engine gauges are green. Air's 55.
Whoa, that was quick.
Yep.
Impressive.
Yep. It takes off quick and it lands pretty quick.
Beautiful.
There's 90, positive rate. Okay, so we're at 5,700 RPM and 105% manifold pressure. The Rotax that's only supposed to be max takeoff for up to 5 minutes before I reduce this. So at about 500 feet, I usually bring that down to 95% of my manifold pressure. So I'll go ahead and bring that down. I'm at 550 AGL.
Medford ground, and thank you for
you want me to do a right downwind departure?
Bravo 3, Bravo Alpha.
So here I'll set it for 90
5530
right now.
Medford Tower, hold short of runway 3.
All right, so I'm going to ask that again.
Yeah.
1,000 foot a minute is pretty typical.
1,000 foot a minute is pretty typical. Yep.
Gotcha.
Sling 3755 Golf, thanks for your help. You can resume on navigation on course direct lead. If you'd like to pick up flight following us with Cascade approach on 124.3. Good morning, safe flight.
On nav and over to Cascade. Thanks for your help, 55 Golf.
Anytime, have a good morning.
All right, so we'll just monitor Cascade. So yeah, here we're flying at 90 and still at 1,000 feet a minute. But like my cruise climb, I like to be at 100 just to, you know, get where I'm going.
Yeah.
So let's move it down to 100.
Do you have any problem with overheating?
No.
Never.
Never have.
Is it water cooled?
So it's liquid and air cooled.
Okay.
Yep. So I've never had any kind of overheat. Now, I have caused myself overheating problems before. And by that, because it's got the oil cooler and the radiator up front, during the winter time when the temperatures are really cold, I'll put some radiator tape over the front of those.
Oh, okay.
And if I don't remove it before it starts to warm up, then the engine's not getting enough air through there, or, you know, for either the coolant or for the just the air coming through. So it's got an oil cooler as well as the radiator in front. So anyway, yeah, now we're cruising at my cruise climb, which is 100 knots. We're at 5.7 and climbing
Cheb 9069 Bravo, Medford
800.
Good morning, sir. Runway 32, taxi Alpha.
And it'll do this right up into the flight levels.
And where's your fuel burn?
So right now I'm burning 10.1, and I'll show you when we get into cruise. So again, because of the FADEC, it does what it's called an eco setting, and so it'll set for eco when we get to our cruise altitude, and I just dial it back a little bit.
Bravo 3 or Bravo 2 into the ramp. Your discretion. Remain this frequency. Have a good morning.
Yeah, sheesh, I was wondering why I was still getting so much chatter. Sorry about that. So when I start bringing it down, what will happen is when it gets to 9 gallons a minute, or 9 gallons an hour, as I'm pulling the lever back, it'll just start to tumble. The engine, the FADEC recognizes that you want to go into an economical cruise, and it'll tumble to about 7.7 to 8 gallons an hour. And then I like to try and set it right about 8 gallons an hour. So I will cruise at 8 gallons an hour generally, and then kind of depending on the conditions, that's usually putting me in the 140 to 150 true airspeed range.
Gotcha.
Or I can leave it at 10 gallons an hour and go 155 to 160 true air, or true. Now, you're probably familiar with all this, or your plane may have it. So this is what's called the glide ring.
Uh-huh.
So this is telling, right now we could glide either to Ashland, because that's within the glide ring, but it's telling us we'd go back to Medford, probably because the winds. Right now we've got kind of a 50 knot, quartering headwind. And so we'd have it easier, and maybe just because Medford's got more facilities and all of that. So the computer calculates all of that. So if we had an engine out right now, this has auto glide. While I'm doing my troubleshooting, I press and hold this for 2 seconds, the direct, and it takes me to the airport that it's indicating that we would glide to.
Uh-huh.
Yep, so it'll glide me to Medford at best glide, which in this plane is 72 knots. And in the meantime, you know, I can see if I can get my engine restarted, check my fuel, check, you know, my lanes, whatever it is that might have caused the problem. So I can have my head inside the cockpit working on getting the plane going again, while the plane's actually just basically an autopilot glide to the airport. So it's a really nice safety feature, I think. So I've got this set so that I don't pick up all the traffic everywhere. So it only picks up traffic that's 2,500 feet above me or 2,500 feet below me. So it's just that $5,000 or 5,000 foot range above and or plus and minus, so that you know, like I say, I'm not seeing the big commercial flights. Yeah, because those when you're on ForeFlight, every once in a while you're looking at that and it freaks you out a little bit because it's going crazy fast and it's coming right at you.
Yeah, I think you can adjust it on ForeFlight too, but
can you? Yeah, I would assume so. So yeah, we're at 10,500 right now, still climbing at about 750, 800
That's
feet
amazing.
a minute.
Yeah.
It's great, burning 9.9 a gallon, or 9.9 an hour.
That's unbelievable.
It's
That's just the
extremely
turbocharged.
efficient. Yep, the turbocharged, because yeah, like I say, I mean, it'll just keep doing this the whole way. And then
Plus
it's got
the FADEC.
Yep, the FADEC with the constant speed prop. It's still in climb mode, and then once it levels off and I start dialing it back into eco, then that prop will
Feather.
set so it'll feather up so that it's able to cruise without any adjustments on my part. One of the things that I just really like about this plane in particular is it's very sensitive and responsive, so it's actually kind of fun to fly, but it's also extremely stable. It's a stable airplane in cruise. You know, it's a comfortable cross-country plane.
Do you have to use much rudder input?
Very little, very little. It stays in line. I mean, sometimes it'll kind of get knocked out of line, but it's not like, I mean, I trained in Cherokees, and those you always had to stay on the rudder. And with this, it just gets lined up. All right, so it's trimming out for 11,500. Since we're still on kind of an eastbound heading, I figured we'd fly an eastbound altitude. And then you'll see my speed will pick up right now going through indicated 115. It'll probably get to around 120 indicated. And then I'll show you how the FADEC sets. Unfortunately, yours doesn't have the gallons per hour on that side, so yeah, see, as I leveled off a little bit, I got just a little bit out, and so just yawed a little bit to the right. So there it's penetrated. It looks like it's topping out at about 121 indicated. So true airspeed right now of 146, burning 9.9 gallons an hour. And so if you watch right here, it'll show you what the FADEC does. So I'm not sure if your GoPro can get over there. So I'm going to start pulling the throttle back a little bit. You'll see the manifold pressure come down. The gallons per hour will start to tumble a little bit. And when it goes to 9, I'm going to take my hand off the throttle, and it'll correct itself down to about 8.
That's a 97190.
So that's just the computer figuring out, okay, he wants to cruise. He wants to be as efficient as possible. So we were at 121 indicated, 146 true. Now I'm gonna set us for right about 8 gallons an hour. All right, so now we're at 7.9 gallons an hour, flying at about 116, 117 indicated, 142 true. So this is kind of my cruise right here. And again, with 66 gallons on board, if I fill up my extended tanks, you know, that's for 8+ hours of flying time at 140 knots true or higher. You know, as I go higher, my true airspeed's going to increase. So I'm closer to 150 when I'm cruising at 17.5 or 16.5.
That's impressive fuel burn, I'll tell you.
It's very efficient. In fact, your fuel calc over here, you can see. So if we were in a car, we'd be getting 17.4 gallons
per mile.
Per mile, that's right.
Like a pickup truck.
Yeah, our no wind range is 470 nautical miles with 26 gallons on board. So that's, you know, no wind, and at this rate, we could fly for 3 hours 17 minutes.
Oh, it's almost free to fly.
Feels like it sometimes. Always cool seeing Shasta, huh?
Oh yeah.
Love that.
Never get tired.
Nope. All right, so I'll kick off the autopilot, and
you just had it on heading right there?
Yep, I did that. I did track. That was something that Jeff Nielsen, when I went flying with him, you know, because doing our training, they always say use heading. Jeff's like, I never ever use heading at all.
Yeah.
And it makes
because the wind changes.
Because the wind changes, so it's always pushing around. So they're just guessing. The other thing is, when you're flying, you always have to bug the heading.
Right.
To make sure that if you do have to go into heading and you hit it, that it doesn't like flip your plane around or something like that. With track, as soon as you hit it, it just goes straight. It just continues on.
My Bonanza doesn't have that.
Doesn't have that track mode. Yeah.
No.
That's so. Jeff said there's only one time he would use heading, and that is if you're departing or landing on a parallel runway.
Well, if they give you a heading, I think you're supposed to use the heading.
Yeah, he says when they give him heading, he always uses track.
Oh, really?
Yep. Because when they give you a heading, they're trying to estimate what it would be if they're calculating in the winds. But he says when they give you that heading, he says they actually want you to fly that heading.
Popped up from Ashland
so,
here, 2 o'clock and 2 miles southbound, indicating 4,400.
Sorry, I'm looking for traffic, 190.
That wasn't us. Anyway, he says he uses track all the time when he flies.
Gotcha.
Only uses the heading if he's landing or departing parallel with another airplane, and they want you on heading just because then everybody's calculated at the same, with the same wind drift or whatever it might be. Have you flown with a side stick with a Cirrus? It's super comfortable for cruising.
Yeah.
I'd like the center stick for maneuvering.
Yeah.
Center stick just feels natural. The side stick is, it's great because your arm's just resting up here. You're just resting in a very relaxed mode.
Oh, yeah, I love this. This is great.
It's wonderful.
Radar contact.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very impressive.
Wonderful. Well, it is a lot of fun. And I've told my YouTube channel before, Bob. You're the one that I go back to all the time on this. You're the one who got me interested in flying. You showed me that it was a time machine.
Yeah.
And I know you already know this, but I think the very first time I flew with you, it might have been over to the coast for clam chowder. But it was also possible that you invited my oldest daughter, Avon, and me to go to Disneyland.
Oh, yeah.
And so we flew to Disneyland, and I'm like, this is incredible. We just flew down there for a couple days, flew back, and barely missed any time from work.
Yep.
And I realized it's a time machine. It's fun. Like you would always say, all the Disney rides paled in comparison because the funnest ride was the trip there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I am super grateful to you for kind of instilling in me a love of flying. And a lot of it is because, I watched you do it, Bob, and you're such a careful flyer. Not careful as in not risky, but, I watched you pre-flight your plane every time. You didn't skip anything. You always did your full pre-flight. You always did your checklist. And this was, somebody who I had known was flying a ton, and you were familiar with your plane. Your plane was hangared, but you didn't skip steps. And I just thought, it was, for me, such a great example of being a safe pilot, being a good pilot, being a safe pilot. So, I don't know. It was great for me. I'm forever grateful for you.
Well, I'm sure glad that you got into it.
Yeah, it's my hobby now.
See you enjoy it so much.
And I do.
That's awesome.
I do.
So how often do you fly this thing, do you think?
I usually fly once or twice a week.
Really?
This last, I've actually just did 3 trips to Sun River just this last week, and that was my biggest break in flying the plane, because the last time I had flown was over 4th of July weekend, so I went nearly a month and a half, about 6 weeks without flying, which was a long time for me. But,
winter's a little hard for me. I mean, you gotta just keep an eye on the weather. And
Yep. I mean, that's, we're lucky in the Rogue Valley. It stays nice, but, that's right. During the winter time, sometimes those low clouds will set in, and you got freezing clouds that are setting in.
Yep. A lot of icy.
Yep.
Icy corridor here.
Weeks on end.
Well, I'm impressed with your flying too, Jason.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
You're a really good pilot.
I appreciate that.
I feel 100% comfortable with you.
Good. That's nice. I'm going to need a reference letter for my wife, if you don't mind.
Sure.
She's actually flown with me a lot, but it's just like Amy. She doesn't want to do, I've told her, I'm like, maybe you'd be more comfortable in the plane if we did some stalls and you saw, because the nice thing about a stall is you realize the plane...
recognize it when it's about to happen.
You recognize it and you realize the plane is okay.
Right.
And, you know, some steep turns, it kind of gets you a little bit uncomfortable at first, but it gives you a sense of what the plane can very capably do.
It's really fun to see different airplanes, how they handle them.
It is,
what they'll do, and I mean, there's such a variety out there, and these kit planes are really taking over.
They're incredible, Bob.
Yeah, I can't imagine spending $1.3 million for a new Cirrus.
I couldn't either. I mean, because
when you can get
your Vans is as good or better.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing it doesn't have is a parachute, but I could put that in
optional.
there. Right, but yeah.
You lose the passenger in the back if you do.
Yeah.
Mine's a 3-seater because of my chute.
Plus, on the Vans, it has all this wiring on the outside.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've seen that.
It's ugly.
Yes, it's not nice. Yep. No, I agree with that. The Sling was designed with the intention of having a parachute in it. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Bedford Tower information, echo time 1553, Zulu observation. Wind 3403, visibility 10, sky clear below 12,000. Temperature 19 or dew point 07, altimeter 3009. Visual approach and use landing and departing runway 32. Flow control in effect for Seattle and San Francisco airports. Advise on initial contact, you have information, echo.
When you and I got talking, it was when you told me about the Vans. That's when I'm like, I hadn't even considered getting an uncertified plane, a kit built. Bedford Tower, Sling 3755 Golf is 14 to the south, inbound full stop with echo.
Sling 3755 Golf, Bedford Tower, good morning again, sir. Make straight in approach, runway 32, report 5 mile final.
Straight in 32, we'll report 5 mile final, 55 Golf. So with this, and I'm guessing yours is probably the same, my flaps won't come in until I'm down to flap speed.
Oh, you can't
Can't even. Yep. Like here's your flaps. They won't move. So I got to get down to 95's my white arc. That's
nice.
my first notch of flaps. 95, and then I bring in my first notch at 3 miles out, or when I'm abeam the threshold, and then I trim for 85 on the rest of my downwind. And then when I start to turn base, I bring in my next notch of flaps and trim for 75. So I fly my base leg at 75. Then as I turn final, I'll bring in my third notch and trim for 70. And then I fly short final at 70. And then as I come out in over the threshold, I'll start to trim up to about 65. So I want to be over the threshold right at about 65. And then its stall speed with full flaps is 48. So 65 is just right for, starting to round out and flare and everything.
On the Alpha 3.
Bedford Tower, Sling 3755 Golf, 5 mile final, runway 32.
Sling 3755 Golf Tower, runway 32, wind calm, clear to land.
32, clear to land, 55 Golf. So there's 2 miles, so I'm going to bring in my second notch. Now I'm going to trim for 75, so this will basically be flying my base leg. There's 75. And then at 75, I can bring in my third notch of flaps. Go ahead and bring in my third notch now. Just crawling in.
Now, could you equip this with a weeping wing if you wanted?
I don't think weeping. I think some people have talked about like trying to do a heated wing or something like that. I haven't seen anything that really provides good icing, but it's available. I mean, it's experimental, so do what you can figure out.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Sling 3755 Golf Tower, continue down runway 32 to exit at taxiway Alpha 4 and pass behind the Bonanza that's just north of Alpha 4 on Alpha for runway 32 into parking via Alpha on this frequency. Have a nice day.
We've got the best tower staff anywhere, I think.
I couldn't agree more. All of our tower guys are fantastic.
Yeah.
So I always offset on this big runway. I always offset and fly a little to the left just so I'm visible if there are planes coming down the runway. I think down the center line you're just not as visible. I think my VFR instructor, he used to do that, and he said he only did it on wide runways like that because he said that he felt like it just made it more visible. So
Gotcha.
to me, it makes sense.
So you can turn the nose wheel, you just can't break it.
In fact, why don't you, if you want, why don't you drive it a little bit?
Okay.
Can you reach the pedals all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got the pedals and you got the brake. I'll just control the throttle a little bit just so you don't get going too fast.
Okay.
But it's just not bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn this
Well, very
off.
impressive. Very, very, very impressive. I think you made a great choice.
It's, you know what, it's been great for us. Yeah, I've got no complaints at all.
You fly it well and you're comfortable in it.
Really enjoy it.
Easy plane to manage.
Hey, check out that Ford Cybertruck.
I still get people ask me, is that really a Ford?
It's only to measure oil. That's all it is. And like I said, I've done this every time I've flown this plane. I've got 293 hours on it right now, and I've never had to add any oil at all. It's just, I mean, I try and act surprised each time, but it's always right at the top of the dipstick every time I check it.
Okay, cool.
So, but that
Instruments are set for takeoff. Gas is on fullest tank, or in this case, it's the right tank. Attitude is coming in, looking at these right here with the electric trim. Oh, we are set for takeoff on the attitude. The thing to do now is run up as soon as we get up there. We've got the fuel boost in, rudder pedals. Okay, rudder pedals are good. Nobody behind us. Get back to engine instruments. Oh, we've got the brakes on pretty stiff. What we're going to do is bring the power in until I get to or close enough right there. Close a drop of 20.
Medford Tower information, Whiskey's current Medford altimeter 3032, wind calm.
Off of 40. I'm going to do that
Medford
one more
ground 323 Golf for clearance to Great Falls, if you got it.
Phenom 323 Golf Medford ground, we don't have it yet, I'll look it up, stand by.
About 20 and 30, that's good. All right, so cycle the prop. Then we've got green all around. We're going to set the fuel. We're going to take out about 10 gallons. Temperatures are coming up. So these Lycomings like to be leaned. So as soon as I'm done with that, I lean it again.
And Phenom 3 Golf, got your clearance to Great Falls when you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead for 3 Golf.
Phenom 323 Golf, cleared to Great Falls Airport via the Jacksonville departure, then as filed. Maintain 1000, expect flight level 410 in 5 minutes. Departure frequency is 124.3, squawk 1570. Phenom 3 Golf, advise ready taxi, read back what's correct.
Thank you very much.
Medford Tower, November 104 Alpha Lima, ready for departure on 14 Alpha 6, left turn.
November 104 Alpha Lima, Medford Tower, runway 14, clear for takeoff, left turn out is approved.
Clear for takeoff on runway 14, left turn, 104 Alpha Lima. So here we go, we're going to get the fuel boost going. Turn on the timer. Timer is timing. Center up heading bug. Okay. Tops are up, boost is off. All right, so we're going 130 at about 1,700 feet a minute, 130.
November 4 Alpha Lima, contact Cascade departure. Have a safe flight.
Cascade 104 Alpha Lima. Cascade departure 104 Alpha Lima, just off Medford, climbing through 2,400.
RV-10 Alpha Lima, Cascade departure, radar contact.
And of course it's going to be a little bumpy today because we got all these clouds around. Not holding any stick or anything like that. See, it's just a pretty stable plane. There's no hands at all.
Horizon 2486, this will maintain 7,000.
I just rest my hand on my lap.
Horizon 2486.
And I just have it on the stick. But the plane is just really sweet. That it's got very sensitive inputs. If I just barely touch it, we're turning. Touch it this way, we're turning that way. So it's extremely sensitive, which is really nice. Super easy to fly.
Scout 5247, contact Medford Tower 119.4. 19-4, Scout 5247, good day.
If I brought it up to, which I don't need to, but if I brought it up to like say 120, we're doing back over 1,500, 1,600. Well, there's just no need to do that right now, so I just let it be right where it's at. Do a little bit of leaning on my way up. Already passing 6,200. Doesn't take long to get there.
Horizon 2486, turn 5 degrees left.
5 left, Horizon 2486.
I could let the autopilot take over right now. I like to hand fly it a little bit more.
November 4 Alpha Lima, traffic 2 o'clock, 3 miles northbound, EJet descending out of 7,000. It will be turning to the southeast.
Okay, we're looking 2 o'clock, 104 Alpha Lima. Got him in sight, 104 Alpha Lima.
Horizon 2486, traffic 3 miles southwest of your position, RV 8100.
We're looking Horizon 2486.
Autopilot engaged. Entering altitude hold
turn left heading 230, descend maintain 5,200.
Left 230 down to 5,000. Was it 200 Horizon 2046?
Horizon 2486, affirmative 5,200.
5,200, thank you, Horizon 2046.
Roger, we've got our eyes on him, 4 Alpha Lima.
And we're looking for traffic, Horizon 2486. Traffic inside, Horizon 2486.
Horizon 2486, roger.
Okay.
RV-4 Alpha Lima, traffic has you in sight, no factor.
Roger, 4 Alpha Lima. It goes right below us. So I hit assist. Always peaks at the number 6 first. Well, that's the one I got my eyeballs on.
Horizon 2486, 4 miles to message, turn left heading 170, maintain 5,200 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS runway 14 approach.
Left heading 170, 5,200 till established, crew for the ILS 14, Horizon 2486.
Come back in at about 55 to 60, which is peak. Because we're lower today, I was going to go 10,000, but we are right about where I like to be. We've got 182 knot true airspeed. Because I'm low, well, I'm 80,500, but our manifold pressure is pretty high. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back just as. Okay, got it down to close to 21. 16 gallons a minute, 180 knots, 79, somewhere in there. Well, it performs a little better at 10,500. You want to go up high? Just for the fun of it. I think my amps are 13, low 1300s to about mid 1300s. The EGTs, HTs are right where they're always at. So if I wanted to go higher with the autopilot, I could just select the altitude right here on the G900. I can say select. Ask me how fast do I want to go as I climb. Be about 145. It's going to start going up. I'm going to put the prop all the way in, put a little more fuel. If I hit this, I can control my climb rate. I control with the rocker arm here.
RV-4 Alpha Lima, contact Seattle Center 127.55.
12755, 104 Alpha Lima. Seattle Center, November 104 Alpha Lima, we are climbing to 10,500.
November 104 Alpha Lima, Seattle Center, the Roseburg altimeter 3038.
3038, 104 Alpha Lima. Been airborne for 15 minutes
Fletcher
about.
at 326, Roger, radar services survey, contact Northbound Tower 118.45.
11845, Fletcher at 326.
1,000 feet from selected altitude.
November 03, Papa, was that you calling? Angel
Entering
flight
altitude
7805, block 1641.
So now that I'm intercepting this, I just start bringing my prop back again. So we're at 10,500. We're gonna do this process one more time.
Angel flight 7805, radar contact 3 miles south of the Arcata Airport. The Rennerville altimeter 3025.
Now we're gonna get a more efficient fuel burn and some good speed out of it still. As it all settles down here, pretty close to where I like it. Somewhere between 55 and 60. That's about right. So we're doing 181 knots. Now we're burning pretty good fuel burn still, but we're at 10,500 feet, burning 16 point, whatever it is, 7 or 8 or 9, doing 182 knots. So not too shabby. So I am going to take a left turn. Number 104 Alpha Lima, we're going to take a left turn back to Bedford for some flight training. Okay, regarding maintenance, Brian Milani, the plane's guy that helped me build the plane, he's done all the maintenance on the aircraft. Only thing I do is I do oil adds as needed whenever I need to add some oil.
RV-0 Alpha William Christian 4 Alpha Lima, just for planning purposes, how long till you are headed into Medford?
Oh, I'm going to estimate within 20 or 30 minutes, 104 Alpha Lima.
4 Alpha Lima, thank you.
Brian does it all. Only person that's ever done maintenance on this aircraft, ever since 2011. It's just the way I like it. All right, so we're slowly getting down, eventually to 9,500. Let's go ahead and continue all the way down to 7,500. What would I do different if I were to build it again? I'm not really sure I'd do anything different. Nothing comes to mind. You know, I think all of our decisions were about right. The only thing in the aircraft, well, I might have chosen different brakes. The brakes that came with it they work okay. But I think it's right on the line in the summertime. If it's a 100-degree day or something, and you're on a long taxi, the wind is to your back, they get hot. And I've had a couple of instances do get hot. I've actually thought about having Brian switch over to something like bearing or something that has dual pucks and run a little cooler. But other than that, I think the brakes is probably the thing. I like the G900X. I wished I could get a a Garmin GFC 700. The autopilot would be nice to have a Garmin because I think it would interface a lot better. I can't do certain things with this autopilot than if I had a Garmin. But at the time we built it, it was not available. We picked what we thought was the best combination, and it is. As you can see, it's been doing a great job.
November 4 Alpha Lima traffic, 900 miles due west of Medford Airport, northwestbound, altitude indicates 5,000.
Autopilot off.
RV-104 Alpha Lima, Medford Tower, report a left base for runway 14.
Left base for 14, 104 Alpha Lima.
RV-4 Alpha Lima, disregard the left base, make straight in approach for runway 14.
We'll be straight in 104 Alpha Lima. Lose a bunch of altitude still.
Guardcopter 235, traffic is at your 12 o'clock, 3 miles westbound, intercept final for runway 14, altitude is 3,900.
Searching for traffic guard 235.
Guardcopter 235, in that traffic is an RV-10.
Still searching, guard 235.
RV-4 Alpha Lima, traffic is a guardcopter at your 9 o'clock northbound, altitude indicates 2,800.
Okay, looking below 104 Alpha Lima.
Guard 235, we have the traffic inside back there.
Guardcopter 235, roger, frequency change is approved. If you'd like flight following, contact Cascade departure at 124.3.
Traffic change approved, guard 235, still.
RV-4 Alpha Lima, runway 14, clear to land, wind calm.
Clearline 14104 Alpha Lima. Say the winds right now.
1260 at 3.
Okay, fuel boost on. Gas on fullest. Undercarriage down. Mixture is coming in. Top is set. Power's about right. Looks like we're heads to whites right now. Going a bit fast, but the power almost off.
For tower, good afternoon. Rise 2138. It's 12 out. Just past Vista on the ILS 14.
Okay, we're going to go
Horizon
full
2138, Medford Tower, runway 14, clear to land.
14, clear to land. Horizon 2138.
A little bit more power.
Minimum.
Not one of my best, but we're down.
RV4 Alpha Lima, turn right Alpha 4, contact ground when off.
Right Alpha 4, contact ground 4 Alpha Lima. Remember ground of November 104 Alpha Lima, going to North Hangars.
RV-104 Alpha Lima, Medford ground, good afternoon. Taxi North Hangars via Alpha.
Hangars via Alpha 104 Alpha Lima. If I had a complaint, almost all the RVs have a little bit of, they have this little bit of a main gear shimmy. Fans never gotten that out. We tried putting stiffeners in there and all kinds of stuff. It's just, if you go online and look it up, it's the RV-10 shimmy. Gears, I'm not sure yours are the same. I hope they fixed it the time they got yours. But you can feel it, and it just bothers me. That's probably my biggest complaint.
So which one's better? Well, that depends. If you're looking for economy, efficiency, and modern tech, the Sling TSi makes a compelling case. If you want a proven airframe, serious performance, and that classic van's handling, the RV-10 is hard to beat. At the end of the day, both aircraft represent what's best about experimental aviation: freedom, innovation, and community. And that's what Pilot Getaways is all about. When I first started flying back in 1999, home built had a reputation for being risky. My instructor at the time told me, don't trust anything that didn't come out of Wichita. But then I met Steve Fusco, a retired United Airlines 747 instructor, who owned both a Bonanza and a Vans RV-6. He showed me what these airplanes were really capable of and changed my perspective forever. Today, that spirit of craftsmanship and innovation is alive and well in both the Sling and the RV-10. Soon, I'll be taking delivery of my very own creation, my completed RV-10 build. So make sure to subscribe, because in an upcoming episode, we'll take her up for her maiden flight. Thanks for watching Pilot Getaways. Fly safe, fly often, and never stop exploring.